Greetings and good morning, everybody. Welcome to a wonderful, wonderful Monday, the first Monday of February 2026, also known as Groundhog Day. That's right. It's cold outside today. It's cold outside every day. And it's going to last the rest of your life. Or maybe not, but at least according to, Bill Murray, it did in the movie shoot. I have to tell you, I really love that movie. It's one of my favorites. It's something I went to sleep to for a long, long time. Speaking of going to sleep for things, I don't want to go to sleep on this. I want to say thank you for the super duper chat from SFXF314 Sabertooth Rapper, who dropped it in the chat moments ago. Thank you, my friend, saying Gargamel had a meltdown. Well, that's true. What if the Smurf world had AOL and Gargamel got it? Instead of saying, you got mail, it said, you got Smurfs. Cue the meltdown. True story. Yeah. Wild stuff. Thank you for that. That was a great imagination sensation this morning. Kind of early. Frank's here. Hi, Frank. Good morning. I think a lot of the wonderful wrenches have said good morning. To those of you out there doing the hard work of modding my channel, I thank you. And to those of you who are gracious enough to give other people the opportunity to be members, thank you for that as well. In fact, it's extraordinary what links you guys go to make sure we get closer and closer to that 1,000 member goal and the 50,000 subscriber goal, which we continue to close in on. Adam drops 5 Culture Casino memberships in the chat. And there we go. Name's going green, getting videos early. I've been doing that all the time. Hopefully, guys that are our members have been seeing that I'm dropping those the night before they go live during the day. A lot of you got a chance to react to the Elon Musk reacting to Knucklehead's new movie, Nolan's new movie, The Odyssey, with questionable casting. Let's just say the video's worth your time. About 7 minutes in total, 8 minutes right in there. Totally worth it. And if you watch all the way through, hey, you can watch another video that I did over the weekend. I did, I think, 3 videos total the weekend. So pretty decent. We've got Tony Piacente with even more generosity out there. Thank you, Tony. Much appreciated. Look at that. 5 more names going green. So in other words, gifty, 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 gifty. Amazing stuff. Ultimately, that's 10 names going green, guys. That's amazing things. Speaking of amazing things, Andy Masterson makes amazing things. And as far as I'm concerned, Putin, speculative casting. Actually, that's true. I even said that during the video. We don't know which character she's cast for. Somebody suggested she's going to play 2 characters. I was like, what? Of course, we already know who Zendaya is playing. Also equally odd. It doesn't matter. And as Fat Elvis says, gifty, gifty, gifty indeed. Hey, Penny's out there. Good morning. And so is L Bird. Good morning, L. Hope you guys are doing well. There's my favorite Rivethead, Razorburn. Culture. What's with the golf club? I don't know. I can't answer. Cat Slave in the house for 5 says, it's not much, but hope this helps with the medical bills. My friend, thank you. I really appreciate that on the Rumble side of the equation. 6 minutes starting now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Wherever you are and whatever you're watching, thanks for checking out the 6 Minute Daily. We have a lot to talk about. Not a lot of time to do it in. 17 stories and all. We're going to have a little bit of commentary afterwards, and then I'm going to send you over to That Park Place / WDW Pro because everybody wants to talk about Disney earnings and the future. You guys do as well. Send Help had a decent reception, 17.5 million. It's ahead of Iron Lung and Melania, but Melania came out of the theaters with an A+ cinema score or A cinema score and an $8 million record debut. It's so interesting that all of the trades are all over this. And, whether or not I'm shilling for it or not, Putin, I'm going to just say that's an awful lot for a documentary. Send Help is at number 1 with $20 million. We haven't seen a gross receipts count yet. Probably likely won't until the end of the day, but it is a box office Monday, so we always talk about what things are doing in theaters. What else things are doing in theaters is coming back, but not for a while. Fast and Furious X times 2 or part 2 or part 2 I think we're going to have a big old number 2 on this one, is coming out on spring 2028. And no one said the road would be easy. Of course not. Yeah, they're bringing back everybody. They're bringing back the whole band on March 17th of 2028. Fast X came out in 2023. A 5-year gap means I don't know how many people are going to show up to see this. Let's move on before I start to say something I can't take back. Like, Disney board is meeting next week as CEO succession drama draws its final act. I think they're going to get rid of Iger early. I think that was probably discussed earlier today. I know Pro's going to cover it in about an hour and 10 minutes. I also know that it's likely going to be tomorrow. Will he be a permanent fix, which is a question asked in the chat? The answer to that is I don't think so. I don't think so. Hey, Tobach. It was an accident. Co-writer arrested and ran along with a number of other cultural creatives doing what any evil regime does, acquiring the people that shape minds and culture. And look, I just hope that they're able to return to the Persian heritage from whence they came before they were forced into a radical faith situation. One of the freest countries on earth became one of the most controlled. What happens when you let bad ideas take over your country? Well, I don't know, but we're watching it in real time in the UK. Hey, our friend Keenan Thompson says he thinks about exiting SNL because it's gonna suck. Well, of course. I couldn't agree more. Harry Potter series gets a premiere window on HBO, so we have a release date coming up. The plans for the TV series is 2027. They're going to stick with it. Early 2027. Not a specific date, but anywhere between January, February, March, or April, we should be looking at it. I think we're probably going to see it in the spring, so I think the earliest we see it is April. But that's my guess. What's yours? We've got the Brittany Griner story review. That's right, a 30 for 30 doc series coming to you from ESPN Political. This is going to be interesting. I wonder how they're going to cover this. I may have to take a look at it and see what side they come down on, with enormous personal mistakes marring what this person will be thought of for. We've got John Lithgow going after J.K. Rowling again, talking about her anti-T stance, ironic and inexplicable. He speaks out against the current war on empathy. That's what they're trying to couch this with. That's why nobody believes them, and that's why nobody's watching these people anymore. And we don't care what they think. John Lithgow went from being beloved to being a buffoon. That's a lot of transition in the B. Speaking of which, LA Olympic chair Casey Wasserman says he deeply regrets his relationship and the emails coming out. That's what he regrets, is the emails being found out between himself and Ghislaine Maxwell in those particular files that everybody focused on this weekend. Boy, do I wish I was doing a political show today. In fact, he's talking about this picture in particular. Oh no, there they are, just hanging out. Yikes sauce. Speaking of which, we got undercover investigation of Meta heads to trial in New Mexico. First standalone case by state. There are many more coming, folks. We've got Minneapolis all-encompassing immigration story tests out newsroom in midst of digital transition. That's right. The local papers are having difficulty staying objective in their coverage, and it's also translating into the digital representation as well. Trump's choice of Warsh to lead Fed could reshape the world's most influential central bank. Yeah, maybe it'll get us out of there. That would be even better if this guy found a way to get us out. And Trump nominates government economists to lead the Bureau of Labor. I wonder why. Labor statistics, you kind of want somebody who's good with numbers. I would say an economist is going to be good with numbers. I could be wrong. NASA begins to practice countdown for the moonshot. I think they paused this a couple of times because of cold. It's a little cold right now. And ESPN closes deal for NFL Network rights for Red Zone. And they get a small piece, or gives the NFL a small stake in the network. Yikes sauce. And finally, the bear story. They've installed collar cams on bears in Alaska so that they can follow an bear's eye view. Isn't that amazing? Kind of neat stuff. But yeah, Alaska's got a lot of Grizzlies, 12 of the 200 or so are being tracked this way. So there you go. The whole economy is based on debt. Yeah, this is very true. In fact, it's reiterated by the interview between Steve Bannon and the guy that supposedly unalived himself with the Epstein-ness of it all. So I would say most likely got Arkancided, but that's an entirely different conversation. For those of you in the chat, I want to say thank you. This is a lot of fun. I always have a good time doing the 6-minute daily. We have to rush through it Monday through Friday, although Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we usually run longer. Now, I am going to automatically redirect you over to the WDW Pro Show, which is about an hour away. But in the interim, I think that Park Place is still live. And before I do so, somebody in the chat suggested a conversation quickly on what's going on with Disney specifically. Well, they made a lot of announcements this last week, especially that ESPN one before the earnings call, which was this morning. They dropped their earnings in a different way, which Valiant covered over on his channel very early this morning, and at a very early time for Bob Iger, because you have to remember, I mean, he doesn't like to often get up and get to the office as early as he was there this morning, because in California it's like 4 a.m. or something that he had to be there. But anyway, they have a new website, new format for releasing the numbers, and a kind of an easier way to follow what Disney's been doing, and it's admirable. It's looking better. Same thing with Comcast. They're looking better as well. And I have to say, coverage this morning has been solid by everybody. I think it's probably the case for our friends over at Midnight's Edge. But like I said, your next best stop, if you haven't watched today's video already, do that real quick and then head over to that Park Place when we wrap up here. Now, let me answer a question. Do I think Josh D'Amaro is the permanent solution? I think one of our wonderful friends in the chat asked that question, and I will answer it. No, he's not the solution. I don't even think that I don't think almost anybody could fix it. They need some ground level management that helps rebuild the company from the ground up, which means taking out all the higher level positions that have bought into, the toxic, destructive, and self-unaliving empathy that Hollywood and everybody else has been pushing for a while. There's no good reason to maintain the direction that this company is headed, because they have literally destroyed every piece of IP they've ever created. Nobody can argue with that. Sorry. Anything that they've ever done is destroyed. And that includes going back into their catalog and making live action remakes that destroy that as well. So when I look at Josh D'Amaro and think it's always a good idea to have the Parks guy come in and take over, because that's the key element to keeping the wheels spinning. Well, the wheels stopped spinning long ago. When Iger came back, he stopped the wheel. And while that may be good for Game of Thrones, it wasn't good for Disney. There's no more flywheel. There's nothing to spin off of. They killed an entire cable network so they could pump content into a streaming service that has been losing viewership over the last 3 quarters. They don't want to talk about subscription numbers because it would reveal too much. The only reason it looks like streaming grew for Disney is because of Hulu. And again, we can talk about that in other places today, and we likely will. But I when I look at the numbers in particular this morning, I don't have faith in Disney. Do you? If you're watching on the replay, let me know those thoughts in the comments section below. If you're watching live, put them in the chat. We got to talk about it. And look, I'm not going to deny that what Putin in the chat says. Hulu's great. I agree. I love Hulu. I've loved Hulu for a long time. It's far better, I believe, than something like Netflix. It's more true in spirit to what a customer experience should be. And that was great. And then Disney got their mitts on it, and now we've got a hodgepodge of blades we're going to have to deal with for a long, long time. By the way, and this has been mentioned before, they stopped featuring IP blades as much on Disney Minus, which tells you something. They are not getting a lot of response to them anymore. They don't have a lot of shows they can push that people will find interesting. I mean, they released, believe it or not, Wonder Man. Did you hear anything about it? Did you see anybody covering it? Did it get more than one day's acknowledgement from content creators? No, because it released all in one day. Or at least that's what I'm led to believe, because there was no chance I was going to watch this garbage. They had already done their usual swapping of things, and that just decreased my interest exponentially. When you are swapping to fulfill a quota, I'm done with you, which is the same reaction that I think everybody's having when it comes to the Odyssey. Christopher Nolan is in it for the awards, and that's it. And, Adam is correct. Not one bit. Disney has wrecked themselves. Yeah. It's like seeing the lighthouse at the edge of a cliff, acknowledging that that's where there's land, and just aiming for it. It's the idea of driving an oil tanker at the shoreline, causing a massive destructive situation. That's what Disney is. And Randall Orr says we don't get Hulu in Canada. You could get a U.S. post box or fake address location, sign up, and get a VPN. Wait, they're probably going to outlaw those in your country. We'll see. They're looking at the United States for VPN outlaw as well, which is crazy, because I think that's one of the only ways that people can protect themselves online now. Pretty wild. Bruce Newhouse says the obvious: there is no faith in Disney hierarchy. They need to return to WDW 2012. Indeed, I think when we started to see the changes in 2013, and honestly, that's going back into when they started to change theme park development, and they had launched the failed project with Kevin Mayer of the NGE, which came to, as you guys know it, my Disney experience and Magic Bands and all of that crap. That was all born out of a project to track you and to know where you were on the property at all times, and to more easily acquire your money. Then, of course, we developed, phone apps that could NFC information and digital currency back and forth via the use of Apple Pay or some other type of system. And they discovered they didn't need those bands anymore, because your phone could open your door. And the security guard at the gate letting you in your car into the property, they could just get your information right away. And by the way, they have a scan of your license plate when you do that. Disney is the most controlled property outside of a prison I have ever seen. And it was done in conjunction with American intelligence agencies. And I bet you didn't know that. So, like I said, that was 2013 was the tipping point for change. They were beta testing Magic Bands. I have about 100 of them with my name on it. And at that time, you could fast pass on Legacy Fast Pass and using the Magic Band. So you could get your 3 fast passes, your pre-designed fast passes of the day, plus you could still Legacy Fast Pass if you had your ticket. That worked out great. I kept having them give me a room key. And by the way, there were times, and most people didn't know this, but you're about to learn it now, that the Legacy FastPass systems, if you put in a room key or any hotel key, it would spit out FastPass, because that particular code hadn't been used. Of course, it wasn't even Disney, but they didn't know that. It could have been a Starbucks gift card. It's just, you just had to figure out when you were going to come back, and it was printed right on the ticket. But that's an entirely other conversation. So, like I said, they need to go back in time and recognize that by taking away all the little perks and by destroying not just local fan bases, but, the extended family vacation folks, they blew up their company. They were counting on international visitors from foreign countries because they'd started to artificially believe that countries like Brazil were going to continue to spend money like it was water in the United States, with Brazilian tour groups and things like that. Well, that dried up. This is what happens with that temporary economic shift that some nations benefited from at that time. So there's that. So yeah. It's insane. So, Daniel Alpine says, I'm on pins and needles about who the next CEO is. Well, Disney, yeah, my friend. I think it's Josh tomorrow. I think it can't be that chick. That chick will immediately kill the company. There won't be anything left. Um, Dana Walden is poison in a well. Her ties to not just the political side of things, but to the organization she has ties to, once revealed, you can't unsee the garbage she's been involved in her entire life. So yeah, not great. All right. So on that note, I'm going to send you over to hang out with the wonderful folks over at WDW Pro, which again starts in an hour. If you have not seen today's video, please go and watch it. Leave me a comment and a thumbs up on it, and double check you still watch that and any of the other videos I watched this weekend. Then check out That Park Place, which I think is still live. There's a lot of people talking about Disney today, and I think I'm going to be one of them. Let me double check that, because this may be it. This may be all you hear from me today as far as that goes, at least in this form. I still have to make videos for the day, so there's that. But yep, I have no invite anywhere, so it's quite possible you won't see me anywhere else today, and that's just the way it is. Adam says that CensorTube has unsubscribed me several times from channels I follow. This has been happening a lot, folks. So double check you're still subscribed. Look down there right now. If the button's red, turn it to gray. Hit the little bell icon. Turn all notifications on so you don't miss anything. And I hope to see you later today and elsewhere. Thank you, Bruce, for your commentary on my analysis. I did it at top speed. I hope it was fast enough for everybody. And check out all my friends. I'm hang on. Black Navy American vet. Awesome, my friend. Thank you for your service. Says, I'm black and I took my family to see the film. I loved Melania. She loves Michael Jackson. She's so Gen X. I love Michael Jackson. Are you kidding me? So you love Melania. That is good. That is good to know. I'm going to say this. Melania stomped all over some Hollywood darlings, and so did Markiplier. You know what, folks? Iron Lung, which is Markiplier's film, it has enough broad appeal that it brought in enough revenue to, stay in the top 3 places. That's insane. A YouTube creator with a little bit of funding went a long way. We need more of that. This is why I respect people like Justine Bateman and obviously Chris Gore over at Film Threat and everybody else that is really pushing hard on the independent film stuff. So, I want to say a shout out and thank you to everybody who made it today. I really appreciate you. Corporeal Being, it's good to see you on the Green Machine. And why is his pick of a white dude? I have no idea. I didn't even look at it. But what I do see is Zombie Box Review saying vibes surrounded by little purple stars. That's right. It's a super sticker with the vibes. Thank you, Andy. Can't wait to hang out with you tomorrow. And with all of that being said, El Bird saw Melania on Friday, and it was the busiest theater. It's the busiest theater has been in a while. Everybody was telling me they were full. So go check out everybody that you love, all my friends, and check out my videos from the last couple of days. I would really appreciate it. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, apparently, I have a farm.
Oh, the culture had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm we had a cock, E-I-E-I-O. With a cock here and a cock there. Here a cock, there a cock, everywhere a cock. Oh, the culture had a farm, E-I-E-I-O.